Oh no, he's too strong. Let's run!
I'm tired.
Full immersion. That's the thing we all crave as VR enthusiasts. But to feel totally immersed, we need the ability to move in the virtual world freely. For that, you need a lot of space, which a lot of us don't have. Me neither. My play area is about 2 by 2 meters, not exactly the dream space for VR. In comes the Catwalk C, the world's first consumer VR treadmill. While it does allow you to actually walk, crouch, jump and even run in VR. Yep, it's like one of these things from Ready Player One. So you may have seen other treadmills before, but most of those were very expensive and made for arcades or businesses. The Catwalk C is the first one made with consumers in mind and small enough to put in a small apartment like ours. A big thanks to Cat VR for sending it over. So does the Catwalk C actually give us that total immersion, and is it worth the $1,400? We'll talk about this today. I'll show you how it works with gameplay. I'll talk about what it feels like, the good and the bad. So let's go beyond reality. So here is the Catwalk C. This is an omnidirectional treadmill, meaning it allows for 360 degrees of motion. It includes these dedicated shoes that will enable you to slide on the platform. The 2 wireless feet trackers mounted on the shoes can track what you're doing and sends that to the game. It didn't come like this though. The bottom part comes separately from the top part, so you gotta assemble it first. But there were straightforward instructions, so it took me about 2 hours in total to get it up and running, which isn't a lot. I think the most challenging part was getting the box of 94 kilos in our apartment and then in our studio. But right off the bat, there is one thing that surprised me a lot. The software setup is like a breath of fresh air. I mean, I've had to set up many different VR devices over the years, and if you've been in PC VR for a while, you will know this too. If you plug in something new, you almost always end up with software bugs and putting way too much time trying to make it work. But with the Catwalk C, the software setup was surprisingly seamless. All I needed to do was install one app, the Cat Gateway, pair the Catwalk C and then the 2 feet controllers with a USB cable, and I was ready to go. Then you just put on your shoes, anti-slip band over the slippery part to be safe, then slide in the feet trackers if you haven't already, strap yourself into the Cat VR, put on your VR headset that you can conveniently hang on the hooks at the back, pull back the anti-slip band on your shoes so you can slide comfortably, start a VR game like normal, then you can use the Cat VR app in the Steam VR menu to calibrate or set settings, which isn't always needed. And that's it. It's effortless and fast. So I've been playing around with the Catwalk C for the last week, mainly using my Oculus Quest 2 wirelessly with Virtual Desktop. It works with all Steam VR games, by the way, that have support for smooth locomotion, and that is just excellent. So I went to try out VR Chat, No Man's Sky, Half-Life Alyx, Skyrim and Population 1 because I wanted to get a feel of different genres in single player and multiplayer. I took my first steps in the most chill game on the list, VR Chat. These first steps felt a bit weird, having to slide instead of regular walking, and I took in mind the warning by the developer and other people that a VR treadmill usually comes with a learning curve. They said I needed to spend quality time with it before it became more natural, so I was a bit surprised that I could get used to it pretty fast. After like 30 minutes, I noticed that I could just lean in a bit so that the straps could hold me, and then I had the freedom to walk as naturally as possible, or I guess slide as naturally as possible. It may not look so, but it felt pretty good. Since I felt like I had gotten the hang of it already, I wanted a big world and eventually found a soccer game. So of course I went to one side of the soccer field and then I started to run hard. That's when it first hit me. This is so freaking cool. It tired me out instantly, but my gosh, that was fun. After that, I ran, and I ran many times in different games. In No Man's Sky, I did a whole mission with Chary by walking and running myself. My gosh, that galaxy is huge, and in Skyrim, I bumped into giants that were way too strong for my level 2 character, so I had to run again for my life. But then resting up in Whiterun and walking around the town felt amazing. In Half-Life Alyx, I didn't have to run a lot, but the slower pace and the many things to explore made walking around like a dream come true. Am I actually living in the game now? It's been a while that I felt that wow factor in VR. It kind of felt like the first time you entered VR, a feeling that I haven't had for a while. However, I noticed a couple of things. First, it makes so much noise that Chary was like, "Are you in war or something?" Well, this may not be a big problem if you can isolate your walls, but it is something to consider. Plus, people may hear you if you're in a multiplayer game, and in competitive games like Population 1, you feel a bit restricted because you have to actually walk, so you tire your body out faster. In less competitive multiplayer games like No Man's Sky, this is not as bad, but if you're doing a mission together, people may have to wait until you're finally walking to that ancient module that you were supposed to dig up to finish the quest, which can be awkward, but also maybe funny. Plus, I like to turn my real body for immersion instead of using artificial turning like snap turning. With the Catwalk C, I need more time to turn around than without. This isn't terrible because you can still use your stick to move around, so if you feel tired, you can just use your controllers as usual. Plus, you can change settings that make it less tiring, like setting the sensitivity so you move faster per step. Interestingly, when you're done though, it also feels strange walking normally again. It's not too bad since it's just like when you've been skating or snowboarding. It just feels a bit weird when you're out of your boots, but it doesn't take long for our bodies to acclimatize again. So I think the Catwalk C is like learning how to bike, skate, or even snowboard. Once you know how, it becomes natural and you gain an extra method of transporting yourself. It's like gaining a new skill in a game, but you do need to practice and overcome the hurdle first, and then it is pretty incredible. But taking all this into account, the Catwalk C may not be as suitable for everyone, like those who only play competitive multiplayer games. However, if you also play single player games and you like exploring them, then it's a yes for me, and a great additional effect. It's also great for those who want to stay fit as you work out without even realizing it. But yeah, so far I'm enjoying it. Do I think this device gives us complete immersion though? Well, not yet, as it still has some restrictions, but it's definitely getting us there. Still, for Ready Player One to happen, we also need other devices to become more high fidelity, like our headsets, and maybe some brain-computer interfaces. However, we are getting closer and faster than I ever imagined. I mean, consumer VR only exists for 4 years, so what else will come in the next 4 years? I'm excited. But if you want to know more about the Catwalk C, you can check out the link below. It works with all major VR headsets, and there are 2 versions, a large and a standard for different player heights, but it is the same price, and of course with my height I got the standard version. So I hope you enjoyed my first impressions of the Catwalk C. There are some things I want to spend more time on, like the comfort and build quality, so there's also a full review coming later where I dive even deeper into what I've spoken about today and more. If you have questions about it, let me know in the comments below and I'll take it into account for this review. Let me know your thoughts about it too, and I'll give away a Steam VR key to one lucky winner in 3 days who answers that question. And please leave me a like to support us, subscribe for more, and a special thanks go to our champions, especially these patrons down below, and as always, VR on.